can't even believe it. The holidays are already here. This year has flown by so fast. So with that, we have tons of parties, food, and more food. Today I'm going to teach you guys what I keep in my medicine cabinet to make sure that if anybody comes down with food poisoning, I'm ready to treat them ASAP. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any of my pharmacist pearls of advice. I've got 10 years of retail pharmacist experience, and I'm going to use all of my pearls of advice to help you guys stay healthy and happy throughout this holiday season. So the very first item that you're going to want to keep on hand is something that can be used to rehydrate somebody who has gotten dehydrated from vomiting and diarrhea. Now, it's really very easily, very quickly to lose your fluid volume when you're having severe diarrhea, severe vomiting. So in order to replenish those reserves, we want to have something like a Pedialyte. Now, Pedialyte is going to be the gold standard that I would suggest having in your house for your kids and adults. Anybody who is dehydrated, I really think Pedialyte is the best way to go. Now, I know a lot of people do not like Pedialyte. They think that it's just for kids, but it really isn't. You can use it for adults. It's just the best product to use, a gold standard. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I don't like Pedialyte. Can I just use Gatorade? Can I just use Powerade? Now, all of these things can hydrate somebody who is dehydrated, but they're not created equally. So the problem when we look at a regular Gatorade versus a Pedialyte is that the number of carbohydrates and the sugars are very different. So Pedialyte has a lower level of carbohydrates and a lower level of sugars than the normal Gatorade. So you might be just be thinking to yourself, well, then why can't I just get the Gatorade Zero? Now, you can do that, but this kind of changes everything. So if you have the Gatorade Zero, you're not going to get any carbohydrates and you're not going to get any sugars. Now, that's all fine and dandy. But then when we also look to the other electrolytes, like the sodium and the potassium, you're going to notice that the levels of the sodium and potassium in the Gatorade Zero are a lot less than they are in the regular Pedialyte. So the problem is that, you really do want to get some type of sugar and some type of carbohydrate. You just don't want to get too much of it. So that's where Pedialyte is perfectly balanced to be able to rehydrate somebody due to sickness. Whereas Powerade and Gatorade, they are used to rehydrate somebody who is an athlete who has lost fluid volume due to sweating. So that's why Pedialyte really is the best in this situation. You don't want to get too much sugar, because if you get too much sugar, that actually pulls water into your intestine, and that can actually further exacerbate diarrhea and pull water out of your body. So that's going to further dehydrate you and not be great. So overall, you really want to have Pedialyte. That's the gold standard, and that's what's going to kind of put all of your electrolytes, your sugars, and everything back into balance after you've been really dehydrated. And the number 2 product that I would recommend for you to have in your medicine cabinet is going to be Pepto-Bismol. And specifically, I want you guys to get the bismuth subsalicylate. That's the active ingredient that you're looking for when treating food poisoning. So this medication is really just my holy grail. I think it works so well for patients who have food poisoning and diarrhea. There's a lot of evidence out there supporting this. The bismuth subsalicylate has lots of antimicrobial benefits against pathogens that are known to cause diarrhea. So that's why it really works so well. It actually has kind of like an antibiotic effect against these really bad bacteria that will cause diarrhea. Now, for people who want to take this, you have to be 12 or older. And for those of you who are 18 or younger, you have to make sure that you are not recovering from chickenpox, and also that you do not have flu-like symptoms if you're going to take the bismuth subsalicylate. The reason why is because if you answer yes to either of these, you can be at increased risk of getting Ray's syndrome if you take the bismuth subsalicylate. So that's just an important safety note to have in there. And then also for patients who are on blood thinners, so if you're on Xarelto, Eliquis, Coumadin, which is also known as warfarin, any of those medications that increase the thinness of your blood, you should not take the bismuth subsalicylate until you talk to your provider first. So the issue with that is the salicylate in the bismuth subsalicylate works like aspirin, and aspirin is a blood thinner. So if you take the Pepto-Bismol with the blood thinner, it will further increase the thinness of your blood, which can then be unsafe. So definitely talk to your healthcare provider first if you are in that kind of situation. And then as far as how the Pepto-Bismol is supplied, so you can get it in a capsule, you can get it in a tablet that you chew, or you can get it in a liquid. So there's a bunch of different varieties of how you can take it. I know a lot of people are really grossed out by the liquid, so just go ahead and get a normal capsule that you swallow whole. Let me know in the comment section below, for those of you that know that kids who are under the age of 12 years should not take the bismuth subsalicylate. There's a lot of confusion out there because Pepto-Bismol does have another product that's marketed for kids, has a different active ingredient, but I feel like a lot of people get confused by that. So let me know in the comments below if you are aware that no kid under the age of 12 should be taking the bismuth subsalicylate. The number 3 product that I would recommend to have in your house for a possible food poisoning outbreak would be a product that has ginger in it. So ginger is going to be there for patients who aren't having diarrhea, but they're having really bad nausea and they're having vomiting. They want something that can kind of settle their stomach and calm them down a little bit. So ginger is the perfect product for this. They've had some systematic reviews that they've done recently, and they found that ginger can in fact help a lot of patients who are having motion sickness, who are having vomiting, who are having vertigo, things like that that are kind of associated with these other end of the spectrum for food poisoning. So not the diarrhea, but the nausea and vomiting. So I'm gonna link some of these ginger soft chews below. I think that these are really good. They're just a little nibble you can have to kind of settle your stomach just so you're not feeling like you have to constantly vomit. And then some people, you know, they like to drink ginger ale. So the Canadian ginger ale, I looked it up and it does have some level of ginger in it. So if you want to try something like that and you don't like too intense of a ginger flavor, you could definitely just do a ginger ale just to get a little bit of a benefit, but not have that super intense ginger flavor if you're really opposed to that. And the 4th option is going to be for keeping stuff in the house that is food related. So it's always really good idea to have something that's kind of a bland food item that you can have to give to your family members when they're feeling sick. So I usually think saltines are a great option just because they're bland, they're not greasy, and they have a little bit of salt in them. So sometimes they taste good if you're not able to keep anything down at all. Now, for patients who have not eaten for a while and they're feeling really hungry and they're feeling that they need some kind of sustenance with some calories, so that's when I think I would suggest the Brat diet. Now, the Brat diet has been around forever, and there's a lot of providers who still use it, and then there's other providers who say, not even worth it. So for me in particular, I definitely believe that it can be a short-term diet that can really help people who are having severe diarrhea. And if you don't have any other dietary restrictions for health reasons, then I really do suggest that you could incorporate some portion of the Brat diet into your short-term diet while you're having severe diarrhea, just to kind of stop things up a little bit. So for the Brat diet, it includes eating bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Now, the one thing I really wanted to point out with the toast portion is when we're talking about toast, we're not talking about high fiber seed and nut bread. We're talking about white bread. So the idea behind this is the white bread is going to stop everything up. So you do not want to do the high fiber content breads because that's going to create the opposite problem where you're going to keep going. So you want the white bread for this certain situation. So it's a really good idea to just kind of have these things around your house in case any of your kids or you or your loved ones have really uncontrolled diarrhea and you need to get them some sort of calories fast. Thank you guys so much for watching my video today. Please make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button and please check out my other video. It's on elderberry for boosting your immune system. Check that one out if you want to boost your immune system for this winter. And check out my next video, which I'll have next Monday with more Pharmacist Pearls of Advice.